Beautiful Monday. My voice is not awake yet. But anyways, we're having a conversation today about the stories we tell ourselves. Or the stories we tell. We'll call it the stories that we tell at different times in life. Let's do this, man. I think that there's this conversation to be had as we tell ourselves a story about today. And I don't know what story you're telling yourself today, but hopefully it's a good story. We're going to talk about that story because that story will determine more about you and your future than you actually know, I believe. So every day we get up and we have this conversation in our heads. If you're like me, sometimes you wake up and then, oh great, I don't know if it was great singing. I appreciate it though. We get up and I'll get up from a dream state or get up in some capacity and the stories start rolling, man. The stories start talking about how do I feel this morning? Do I want to get up and move? Do I not want to get up and move? What's the day going to look like? What can I do? What's up, Jimmy Ferris? How you doing, man? What's the day going to look like? And we have this consistent conversation that starts running, right? And so what I found is that as we start looking at our days, I want you to start, just for today, start thinking about the stories you tell yourself and why it's important to think about these stories. You have the ability to create something really cool, but it's going to happen because you make a story true or not true in your life. Every day we have the ability to make a story true or not true. What's up, Sideline Conversations? I'm going to be on the show, I think, at some point here coming up pretty soon. Official fans in. Hello, Angela Camstra, James, Lorna, good morning. James Trujillo, good morning. So the stories we talk about, that we're talking about today, are ones that are consistently running in our heads. And what happens is we live our life in a way to where we like to make stories right. We just do. I mean, whether it's a story of I can overcome or a story of I'm not smart enough or a story of I'm incredible, I deserve this, we will live to make a story right. When I was 15 years old, I got to this point, good morning, Farmer Mima. Well, I got to this point in my head where I was like, you know what, I want to be a great athlete. And so I wanted to make the story right to be able to say I was a great football player. So I did all the things I could do to where at the end of the day, I woke up and I would go, hey, you're great at this. Look, you've spent the time, put the hours, did all that work to where, dude, you're great at this, right? So I wanted to live to make that story right. So I showed up to practice. I would eat right. I would lift right. I would run the plays. I would work hard in practice because I wanted that story in my head to be right. Now, what if the story in my head was you're not good enough, Anthony? What if that story happened to us? What if you lived that story, which a lot of us unfortunately do, where you live a story and you told yourself consistently like, yeah, I don't know if I should, I don't know if I can. What you do is you live your life in a way to make that story right. So you'd give half effort, half energy, somewhat time. You wouldn't fully commit. So you could look back and go, see, I tried, but see, I'm just not meant to have that. You'd live to make that story right. And so what I look at is every day, a lot of people have these conversations. They start with good excuses. They start with good intentions and it ends with good excuses, right? Good intentions. I want to have this. But then what happens is an excuse pops in and I go, oh, that excuse, most of the time, it's not a valid excuse. You know what it is? It's you living in a way to make the story right. So I actually get a moment in time to peek into your head and find out what your story is. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, right? I seriously, I hear it in messages all the time. Constantly, I'm in conversation with clients and I get to hear fairly often the different things going on in their head that end up being aspects to where they are showing me the story that's running in their head. I'm watching a script right now. You know, like there's ways that I didn't have enough time or I was really focused on this over here and I couldn't do both of these here. And this became this issue where, you know, and the kids did. It's like, oh man, you know what? I'm hearing a lot of stuff in the background, but all I'm really hearing is you giving me the justification of the story you've got running. So how do we fix this, right? It's a good question. How do you fix it, Ant? Well, change the story. It's pretty much it. Change the story. We can go deep on this, and we will over time if you want to. If you listen to me enough in the mornings, you'll find that I give you a whole bunch of weird ideas. But realistically, I believe it comes with just changing the story. Whether or not you believe you deserve the new story yet. I mean, we put that little anchor out there and preface it with this. Whether or not you believe you do just yet. You might not believe that you deserve that different story. And that's okay. Guess what gets you there? Living with actions. The actions you take are what give you a sense of deserving to an extent, right? If I take the action long enough in a direction, I feel like I should get a return. I deserve a return in some capacity. If I invest money, I deserve a return in some capacity, right? Certain amount of interest, right? That's how things work. So for you, the time invested is going to be in the story and then putting energy towards that story. And at some point, it starts to build inside over time to where you go, yeah, I do deserve that, right? The story is one that also you get to craft and create. No one makes it for you. You can't come in and say, hey, can you craft a story for me of what could be great for my life? Yeah, somebody can, but you'll sit back and go, you know what? I don't know. Because here's the thing. You will not protect what you don't create. You might possibly, let's say you have a job protecting a Monet, right? You didn't create it, but you'll protect it, right? But your kids, your dreams, right? Your energy toward the house that you actually helped build with your own two hands, the breakfast that you made, like you'll protect what you create. So if you create this story, you'll protect it with your actions, but you've got to create the story. I can't come make it. Somebody else can't come make it. It's got to be something that gets put in place over time because you chose to make that story. If you're just tuning in right now, we're talking about making stories right and how we live in ways where we tell stories to ourselves. We'll make them right, good or bad. Right? A good story that you want to make right. It's like, I'm supposed to be a world-class athlete. You'll live in a way to make that story right. Or I'm not meant for anything because I'm a foster kid and I didn't have much growing up and I was a poor kid. I could have lived that story and made it right all my life, but I chose to change the story. This isn't about me right now. It's about you. But it only happens through you understanding that the stories you're running through your head right now can be changed on a dime. And what happens is your life doesn't change on a dime, but the story changes, which allows your life to change over time. Not in a dime, over time, but it happens from a right now adjustment to how you perceive yourself, how you perceive the future, what story you want to start telling yourself. You find that story, craft that story, and start living in a way to make that story right. And yes, it's going to be hard. You want to know why? You're going to be sitting there going, but this is my story. I feel awkward living this story. Yeah, it's going to feel awkward. Why? Because it's different. The thing is, I think sometimes people see different as bad. Mala, bad. No. Different essentially is different. That's all. Not good, not bad. There are different breakfasts. You can go to different breakfast spots. They all have very good meals. They're different restaurants, different breakfast meals, right? I'm thinking breakfast because it's the morning. I'm just the morning, right? But the thing is just because it feels different doesn't mean it's bad, and it will feel different in the beginning. It will feel so odd, out of place, awkward, and that difference is what you're looking for. That awkward is what you're looking for, because when you found that, when you're anchored to that, now you got something special. That's my message for you today. Start adjusting your stories. Change how you're telling yourself the story from the moment you get up right now. What story are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself, oh, Anthony ain't talking to me. He just out here talking and saying some things. Sounds good, but it's not me. Or do you start saying, no, he's talking directly to me. He's talking right to me. I need to hear this morning. I need to be the one listening to what he's talking about. I need to change my story. If that's the case, start working towards it. Now, as a caveat, on Thursday, the 20th, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., we got the first Clubhouse show. My show, that Clubhouse sponsored, called Shift Happens. It's pretty much AKA The Shift Show. And the link is in my bio on Instagram, and you'll see it on the screen right here if you are tuning in on Facebook's or LinkedIn's or YouTube or Periscope. Go hit that link. Here's why. You get a chance to actually win these things right here. You get a chance to win headphones and the new AirTags. These things you can put on anything. You can put on your purse. You can put on your jersey. You can put on a pair of shoes. I don't know if you can put on a pair of shoes, but you can put it there. It'll track your items just like you would track your iPhone or any kind of iDevice. But I'm giving it away. All you got to do is go to the link and show up to the show and stay. Show up at the end of the show. You have to be on the show, and I have to be able to check my community app, which you'll see the process. You'll check the app. If I see your name in both those places, I'm sending to you in the mail. I might even send you a special little gift too. I might send you like an extra GPS plan or something. I don't know. I might be giving away some cool stuff. Anyways, hit that link. Outside of that, have a phenomenal rest of your Monday. Have a great week ahead and live out this week differently. Change the story and then change your life in time. And it all happens by how you choose to start doing things differently right now. That's it. I love you. Take care. God bless you. And I will see you on Wednesday morning. All right.